Hello and welcome for our morning meditation here in California and other times around the world. And one of the supports for meditation is bringing to meditation or evoking in meditation a clarity of purpose, a clarity of what you are giving yourself over to during the course of the meditation. And one of the invaluable ways of engaging in meditation is a clarity that for the time while you're meditating, the most important time is now. The most important place to be is here, in your place of meditation. The most important person, while your eyes are closed, is you yourself. And the most important thing to do is to be here and now with this person, as if this person is the most valuable person to really listen to, valuable to see, to be present for, to accompany. And so I have to be clear that even if there's more purpose, you want to get concentrated or cultivate loving kindness or develop your mindfulness, there might be different kind of practices you do, things you're growing. But this clarity of purpose that's supported by the clarity that this is the most important time. Wow, no other time. If we're going to really connect to, trust, respect what it is to be alive, in meditation we're here to experience the lived present. It's only in the present moment. At any given present moment time, we're only in one place, the physical place we're at, to really embody that place, embody the connection. And the here and now come together in this body of yours. This lived experience is through your body. So to assume a meditation posture, and to gently, slowly take a few fuller breaths, feeling the expansion of the rib cage, and the settling of the rib cage as you exhale. Feeling the expansion of the back rib cage, much more subtle sensations usually. And the settling of the back rib cage. Continuing with some fuller breaths, comfortable fuller breaths. See if you can feel the rhythm of an increased movement or pressure, expansion in your lower back as you breathe. Maybe a gentle massage of alternating pressure and release, expansion, settling. And if you're sitting in a chair or on a cushion, as you take these fuller breaths, is there any shifting sensations on your sitting bones, on your bottom as you breathe? Maybe with the inhale, a little bit greater pressure, fuller contact with your chair, your cushion. A gentle kind of pushing downward on the inhale. Or lifting up out of the chair cushion and a settling back on the exhale. And then, as you exhale, relax your whole body. The whole body settles downward to your sitting bones. A deep settling. Softening of the shoulders. Perhaps a small adjustment to your hands and arms that allows the shoulders to soften more. And as you relax the body on the exhale, also relax the thinking mind. Allowing your thoughts to drift away on the exhale. And then letting your breathing return to normal. And becoming clear, maybe with your whole body, of the importance of being here, in this place, in this body, here. And becoming clear with a sense of purpose that there is only now Now is where the lived experience occurs. And that here and now, for you, the only way to feel and know the lived experience of the present is with your own body and mind. Your experience is the most valuable right now. Stay here without wandering off in thought. Stay here now, breathing, with breathing being the center of your lived experience. As we come to the end of this sitting, to appreciate your lived experience of this moment in this place. To be embodied, to experience through your body, with your body, centered on your body, the immediacy of the lived experience. And let there be a clarity of purpose or a clarity of presence here, really to be here, as if offering your full presence, your full attention through your body is how you can offer the greatest respect, the greatest devotion to this lived life that we have. And that by having this clarity of presence, purpose, you have actually more to offer others. If you offer thanks, you're embodying that thanks to give it greater value, substance, clarity. If you say, I love you, you're not holding back, hesitating. It isn't half-hearted. And if you offer your kindness and your friendship, there's so much more fullness and clarity in what you're offering if you're fully present in your lived experience. By considering yourself, you yourself is the most important place to be grounded here and now. It does not make you selfish. It gives you more to offer others. May it be that this practice of mindfulness supports you in a clarity and a fullness of bringing goodwill, kindness, friendliness into this world. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to this fifth talk where I'm giving some stories from my own practice life. And today I'd like to give some stories, offer some stories of how I slowly understood how to become independent in the Dharma. One of the goals of Buddhist practice is to become independent in the Dharma. And this expression coming from the Buddha himself in the ancient text. And I understand that to mean be able to be your own teacher, to know what the practice is well enough that you don't have to rely on anyone else to tell you what is the practice and what is not the practice. When I asked the Zen master once, how do you know when you're ready to give someone Dharma transmission in Zen, the authorization to teach? And he said, when they can stand on their own 2 feet. And so this idea of standing on your own 2 feet and being able to be your own authority was a little hard for me to discover. It was various steps in discovering that, partly because the authority of Buddhism, the authority of these institutions that I was in, the teachers I had, the authority of a whole Buddhist tradition, kind of was felt very strong and powerful and real and true and somewhat intimidating. And who am I to counter that, to make decisions that didn't go along with that? And so slowly over the years, I had to learn that. And so a small example was how this was I was ordained as a Zen monk, Zen priest, in San Francisco Zen Center, and I was living a monastic life pretty much. Though the Zen Center by that time had a restaurant called Green's Restaurant, relatively new then, and I worked there as kind of a monk. So I worked 5.5 days a week, and my stipend, my monastic stipend at Zen Center, was $60 a month, and my food and housing was cared for, but in addition to that, because I was living at the temple, there was work to do during the week, different chores and things, and in addition to the morning meditation and ritual, and the evening meditation and ritual, and obligatory meetings to go to. And then, so I worked 5.5 days a week, and half day on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I was assigned to buff these kind of stone hallways at Zen Center. And I had this big buffing machine. I had to go around, and it's a big building, so it took quite a while to buff it all every week. And I was starting to feel some resentment and kind of exhausted from always kind of being so busy. And then I realized one day that the institution, the temple, they were not going to say no for me. All they did was ask for more, and more of me. And so I realized that, and I was always trying to accommodate, say yes to everything. And so I realized, no, I had to be able to stand up for myself. I had to stand on my own 2 feet and say, I know this is too much for me. Not healthy for me to do it this way. And so I told them I would not do the Sunday morning floors anymore. And that was a real step forward for me in a small way to hold my own against this big institution. Then I went to Japan to practice. And there was Japanese monastery was also one of these great authority figures. Japanese Zen Buddhism as a whole was this big kind of authority figure. And I went there to do a 3-month practice period. And in the middle of that practice period, I decided that this was not good for me here, that this practice was not serving me, and it wasn't the wrong place to be. And But who am I to say that? I mean, you're not supposed to leave during those 3 months. It's considered very, disrespectful. And who am I to know what I need compared to, all of the history and hundreds of years of, the, the Zen tradition and all that. And it became clear one day that I had to make this decision. And I made the decision, this is not the right place for me to be, and I'm going to leave. And then an amazing thing happened. I knew that I made the decision. I could really feel that turn. I felt like, this was a new way of living, to be able to make that decision for myself in the face of this huge authority figure. But when I made that turn, then something amazing happened to me. I realized that I had remembered that I had been sponsored at the monastery by a Japanese monk. And if I left during the middle of the practice period, it would have major repercussions on his standing in his Japanese Zen tradition and among his friends, the abbots in different temples and everything, that this could have serious negative repercussions for him. And he was kind of my friend. He had supported me to be there. So then I decided to stay for his sake. And I felt completely good about that. I felt there was no problem with staying, and I was at ease with the decision. Even though I knew that it was not the right place for me, I was happy to kind of live with that shortcoming in a sense, just to be able to support my friend that way and not make it harder for him in his own tradition. So that was a wonderful kind of also, coming into my own in a strong way, that this is what I had to do. And when I also had a Zen teacher who was a wonderful teacher in many ways, and very important for me. But part of the practice of Zen was learning how to meet as equals, and not just to be student-teacher all the time, but for the student to grow and develop and come to a place where they're capable of meeting the teacher. And how I understood that was I had to overcome my intimidation in front of an authority figure, strong character, a strong teacher, and I had to kind of rise to the occasion. I had to find a way to meet him and hold my own and be there in full presence, not assertively, but just really not be intimidated, not see myself as lesser than or deferring or something, but just really be there respectfully, fully, the meeting of kind of like equals. And that was a great year for me to see and understand what was going on for me and work through my kind of intimidations of authority figures and father figures and things like that. And so I kind of grew a lot, not in meditation per se, but in living there and was living in the same temple as a teacher. So there was enough contact that I was kind of finding my way through this. And after a year, I realized that it was unlikely that this teacher was able to bridge that divide. That the teacher was always going to be in the teacher stance, and so at that point, I kind of shrugged my invisible shoulders and said, "Okay, my work here is done in this regard," and so I was content that with a year of good work, but I'd come into my own. I'd learned something about standing for myself. And if the teacher couldn't meet me, that was okay. I wasn't upset or angry or thought less of the teacher. It's just that wasn't the capacity of the teacher. And so then I moved on from there. And this whole way of becoming kind of independent in myself and standing for myself served me really well when I went to Asia to practice this practice here, Vipassana practice. And I had a very wonderful, very significant teacher, U Pandita, who could be very stern. He was kind of like a little bit like a warrior style teacher, and he could be very hard on his students. And there was a period of time he was hard with me. And other people, especially Westerners studying with him, it was very hard. He was a stern father figure who would reprimand them, and many people kind of got a little bit crushed by this strong person who was always expecting the most from people. And so he was difficult with me for a while, and I listened to him and tried to accommodate his instructions. But I remember I had this long walk to go back to my room, and generally, by the time I got back to the room, I'd kind of sloughed it off. I'd kind of let go of what had happened in the meeting with him. And I wasn't so tied to him. I wasn't so dependent on him. I took what I could that was useful for him, but I could kind of be my own person. I could be independent of Dharma. And that was invaluable because it allowed me to go back to my practice and just really enter my practice again, having let go of the interpersonal dynamics of how I had reacted to his sternness, his firmness, his that in an interpersonal way was quite difficult. So to be able to become kind of stand on our own 2 feet and know how to do that in a healthy, balanced, appropriate way, in a way that doesn't make us conceited or selfish, but in a sense, I would say the opposite. That the more we can just inhabit and be really fully here, and really know and feel and sense and kind of be ready to be our own teacher, we'll start seeing the limitations of being selfish. We'll start seeing the limitations of holding on to some strong idea of who we are, identity, stance, position, judgment about me, myself, and mine. And let those go enough to really even more be able to be here fully. And that fullness of being allows us the way that we live in friendship and in support of others means so much more. If we feel diminished and that we're not important and we're always ready to apologize for ourselves and cower or submit ourselves to others, then a thank you has less meaning. I love you has less meaning. A care, support, and opening a door conveys so much less than if you're really there, not asserting yourself, but not diminishing yourself. Then there's more that's conveyed in terms of kindness, care, support. More we're able to meet and make space to meet the fullness of other people as well. As we fully respect ourselves and stand on our own 2 feet, maybe that can resonate or help us to recognize and meet the fullness of others in the way that they can be their own teacher. They can be their own fullness in the space that we give them. So thank you very much for this. 2 announcements. Next week I'll be back on retreat at the Insight Retreat Center, and David Laurie will be here, wonderful recent graduate this year from the IMC's teacher training program. He's been here before for YouTube and was well appreciated. And the second is that coming to the end of the year, IMC has an end of the year fundraising letter. And I invite you all to read it. And you can find it, I think, on this YouTube channel, and the information about the broadcast just below the picture. There's a link to my letter that I wrote about IMC, and maybe you'll consider a donation to support IMC. And you'll also find that letter on IMC's homepage under What's New. So thank you very much for all of you who will offer the support that makes all this possible. And I look forward to being back in about a week, and I guess 9 days. Thank you.